The next thing I'm going to do is place my magnets, and I've given you a little guide to help you out. So I'm just going to take a little bit of score tape and I'm just going to cut off a little square and put it on my magnet. There we go. Then I'm going to remove the tape and place this where I've got my little guide. So I've done the same thing over here. You see, you've got that little guide, and I'll just cut off a little piece of score tape, and basically all that's doing is it's just holding it in place while I do my thing with it. Remove my backing and place it where I've got that guide like that. So now that we've got these in place, I'm going to take washers and place the washers right over the magnets, because I want to know where to place these so that they line up properly. And then again, taking a little square of score tape and putting it on top of that washer. For the top one, I don't have anything to place it on just yet, but I'll go ahead and leave that. With the bottom one, we've already got this, our little pocket placed on here, and then we'll just take and remove our backing. And I can fold this over and lift up carefully, and then boom, my washer is placed, and now I can adhere this piece as a mat over the back of my pocket. So I will just go ahead and do that real quickly. I've got a adhesive backing on this, double-sided tape. And now I'm just going to remove the backing and place that right over my magnet. I think that's good. Here we go. I love that snap. And then we're ready to add this piece on there. You might have to hold the edge down if you're gluing with liquid adhesive to get that to adhere over that magnet. And I can go ahead and adhere my little corner packet to this corner here. I think I'll just use a little dry adhesive. one good reason to burnish. It just burnishes this down so that your backing comes off a lot easier. And I'll just kind of line it up with the edges, top and bottom. There we go. And then I like to get my bone folder in there just to make sure that my pocket's adhered, but it still lifts up enough that I can get something in there or something. Yeah, like that. Anyway, so basically our bottom part is done, and we can go ahead and work on this part. We've got this manila, well, I guess it depends on what kind of paper you printed it on. I've printed mine on a cream cardstock, but it's a folder thing and it has a tab. And the tab gets adhered like this, so when it opens up, you've got a little, and the manila gets adhered like this, so that when you open it up, you have a little folder. And then this is going to go over that. So what we can do is go ahead and adhere this tab to your book. So I'll go ahead and use some dry adhesive and place that on my tab. Trim off my excess. And then I can remove my backing on this. I'm a lot better at doing it this way than I am any other way if I'm trying to line it up with an edge. Although, I don't know, maybe I could do it this way. This might be easier. There. So that is adhered. Your magnet is going to go on top here, and then we've got a mat that will go over it like that. So now that we've got this part on, we can place our washer. And then we've got some things to do inside here, but let's just go ahead and place the washer. Bada boom, bada bing. Voila. Now your washer's placed. And we can add this lovely little piece. Right? I think so. I've got my double-sided backing. On this front piece. And I'm just going to go ahead and place it. I find it trickier to place some of these larger pieces with the double-sided tape, because once it's down, and there ain't no going back if you screwed up. So sometimes if you need it to be a little more forgiving, then I recommend the liquid, but I went with the dry adhesive just because sometimes the and I'm not saying that you can't do it, because you totally can. The adhesive kind of, it's you just need to spend a little extra time making sure that the adhesive around that magnet adheres well, so that you don't have, you know, paper sticking up around that magnet, but that works great. We can put our little piece here now because we've got our magnet down, and I just happen to have it all ready to go. There we go. Yeah. Make sure I get that little area around the magnet. And then that will fold over. Boom. That. Okay, now we can work with the inside of this, which has been challenging to me. What I want to work with first is this piece right here. So, oops, that just got away from me. So you fold the tab under, and then it's going to get adhered right up against this fold, and I'm probably going to definitely go with liquid on this. And then I also want it to line up with the top and bottom of this flap right here. So I can go ahead and just adhere that into place. So I'm just going to make sure that this lines up and that I can fold it easily. I do want that on that fold. Or at least near it. And I think that folds pretty well. So that's lined up well. We'll call that good. Go ahead and burnish that down. And so then we've got that. Okay. Next thing I want to work with is this little envelope, because it's going to go right here and fold over like that. So this is printed on deli wrap, and I've given you an instruction sheet on how to print on these thin papers. So I'm not even going to score it because it's so thin. I'm just going to line it up on my cutting mat and get it that way. There we go. Okay. And then we're just going to fold that over. Oh, see a little corner I forgot to cut. So I think what I'm going to do is get a little bit of my score tape. And just run that along the outside edge. Same here. Scoshy bit of trimming. Basically, that's going to be the inside anyway. So I'm going to take that off first so that this has something to stick to. There we go. And then that can come off. And then we can just carefully fold this over. Already. Come on now. See, it's tricky. This way. I don't know. There isn't really an easy way to do this without getting your fingers all over it. Okay. That is good enough. So, I've got my envelope, and what I want to do is take my mini pinking shears, and I'm just going to go along the top. You don't have to do this. I just want to make that jagged edge that bags sometimes have. Like that. So to adhere the bag, you want to figure out which way you want it to open. Do you want it to have the lines facing up, or actually, I've given you two different designs, so you just want to make sure that whichever one you want to be on top when you open this up is the one that is facing up. So I'm going to adhere it like this, and it will fold the way I want it to fold by doing it this way first. I've got this, it's tracing paper that has been sprayed with a clear coat, and I think it makes it look like aged glassine tape. So this is about an inch, it's about an inch wide, and it's the same length as my envelope, or mostly the same length as my envelope. Might be just a little shorter, but that's okay. I want it to be a little shorter. And then what I'm going to do is place my envelope. I'm going to put a little adhesive on this, and I'm just going to plunk it down right like this so that it's about half on the envelope and half on my cardstock. And to do this, I am definitely going to use the liquid adhesive. And what you can do to kind of help this a little bit is I like to fold it in half. Just a little fold. A little fold. What is a little fold? Define a little fold. Okay. And then I'll just go ahead and apply the adhesive on one side of this first, because I want to make sure that I get the edges. And you might have to go back with a little stylus or something and really glue down the edges. Because this has been sprayed with an acrylic, sometimes it has trouble sticking to something that's like this tissue. But it can be done. I'm just telling you, just saying. Alright. I think this kind of gives this a cool effect too. Alright. So that is on there like that. I see some edges that I'm probably going to have to go back to and glue down, but like I said, that don't get too hung up on that right now. You know, basically we're wanting to place this and then go ahead and apply my adhesive to the other side. And place it near that fold so that it folds over easily. Oh, oops. Well, that's a thing. Okay, so note to self. You do want to cut your piece of glassine so that it is about the same length as this rather than the same length as the envelope, because I am now going to need to trim off the stuff that I glued and didn't need to glue. You know, these are the things that happen, and I kind of think that everything is fixable. So you can learn from my mistakes before you do this. The other side won't be like this. There we go. And that folds over like that. That's pretty good. And then we're going to flip this over, and we're basically going to do the same thing with our other piece of tape. Like that. So I'm going to, I kind of like folding it. It just makes it a little bit easier, I think, to glue one side at a time, because it's tricky to glue this tissue-y type paper. It's very delicate. Okay. And I'll do the same thing with the other side, except I have a little more of a guide now, and I can just maybe do it directly on the card. Let's see what that does for me. And you don't have to be as careful on this side because we're going to be putting a card over it. So our envelope is down. And what I have found is that after some drying time, these do relax out a little bit and stay down and fold a little bit easier. So just keep that in mind and don't get too hung up on the fact that it, you know. So what we're ready to do now, and one of the things that you could have done, and I have done this, is you could have put this piece on first and then put your glassine over it, or you can put your glassine on first and then put some more glassine over it as an embellishment. There's just more than one way to do these things, and if there's something that works easier for you, then please feel free to take creative license and go ahead and do it that way. What I want to do is ink this flat a little bit, just to kind of give it some continuity. Looks like I got a little resist there, maybe some glue that got on it or something that's not taking the ink, but that's okay. Not going to worry too much about that. You know, some of these unexpected things, they give your piece character. It seems like no matter how many times I do a project, it never comes out the same twice. Just going to go ahead and ink along there a little bit. You know, while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and ink around this area too, because I am going to be putting something here. And I'll do the same with this too. Enough ink on those. I can go ahead and adhere this to the inside and go ahead and adhere this to my inside as well. Did I do that one? Yep, I did that one already. Okay. And then we got something special that we're doing with this part right here. Okay, so go ahead and adhere these two pieces. This is going to go here. It should top inside of your passport, and then this is a little journal card that just goes on the inside like that. So, or you can switch it up. You know, this is the way I'm doing mine. The journal card goes over here, and this is part of my passport, so it goes at the top like this. You've got something that looks like this, and they're those little file closure things. You can either cut them out, whoops, by hand, or I like to use this little circle punch because it's right about the same size. Actually, I probably should have done my hole punch first. So. I would recommend punching these little center holes before you punch it out. Not that it can't be done, because I just did it, but it's just easier. So I'll go ahead and punch my hole on this one first. There we go. See, just so much easier. And then punch this out. Have to get like right up on this thing. Yeah, that hurt. I pinched myself. Ouch! And I did it twice. Okay, so having two of these just reinforces it and gives it a little bit of thickness. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is glue these together. Go ahead and glue them back to back. Because you know, why not? Okay, I am going to stick an eyelet in there, but first I'm going to take my inker, because there's like a little bit of a white halo around the edge of this. And I just kind of want to darken it up. You know, you could even, if you had a brown Sharpie, that would work too. Alright, that's good enough for me. And then somewhere in my world, somewhere in my crafty world, I have eyelets. No craft table should be without them. Now I'll just stick one of these eyelets through. Yeah, kind of like that. So there you go. And then where this is going to go is it's going to go up here. But before I do that, I do want to adhere my little card on there. Got this little journal card that goes right over the top of this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And one of the things that makes this unique is because, you know, your hole punch can't get all the way down to that edge, so you might have to use a manual hole punch. But first I want to figure out where that's going to go, and I want to have that glued down first. I will go ahead and glue this journal card. These are, I printed these on tea-stained paper, and instead of cutting it out with scissors, I just ripped it. So like if you line your ruler up along the edge and you just tear to cut it out instead of actually cutting it out with scissors or a blade or something like that. And I think in this case, I kind of want a little bit of a grungy look, so it's okay if the edges aren't all the way adhered down. They might just flap up a little bit, and that's totally perfectly okay.